Morning, everybody. Hi, how are you all? I'm just going to give it a 2-minute wait, as I usually do, just to say, wait for everybody to come online, really. Good morning to you all. It is the 24th of February. I had to check then, could you tell? The 24th of February, 2020. Wow, the last Monday of the month. So we are back with our usual social media roundup, which I do every month, funnily enough, that's why it's monthly. And I kind of bring to you the headlines and the top bits of news from the month in terms of what's happening. And we've got our banner up in the background, as you can see, trying to block out the horrible weather. So I don't know where you guys are, but I suspect it's as hideous as it is here. So hopefully you're all staying dry and warm. But today we have got a few updates to go through, not tons and tons of stuff. We had a really busy month last month with things going on in the world of social. But certainly we've got a few things to go through today, and we will also cover a few things about safety, given that it was Safe Internet Day this month. For anybody who isn't already a member of our Facebook group, the Social Media Academy, I definitely encourage you guys to join that, because that's where we have lots of conversations around social media changes, and you can share any questions, successes, speak to us, yeah, it's all a free source of information. So I will pop the link into the bottom of that below. And for anybody who does watch us on the catch ups, I know quite a few of you do, we've also blogged about this month's updates, and that will be live on our website later on this morning, or this afternoon, sorry. And we'll get Becky to share a link to that in the comments below. Cool. Okay, so kicking right off, we've had a couple of updates courtesy of Instagram. They've been making some changes around how to explore the platform and how to find stuff, as well as how to create on the platform. So they're testing a new trimming tool for Instagram stories clips, basically making it easier to edit and upload your stories within the app. So the new option would provide a video slider trimming tool, but it's built into the stories feature, which would function in the same way as similar video editing tools available in other platforms. So if you're not using stories yet, I keep banging on about this, make sure you start integrating them into your strategy as a business. The tools that they are bringing in are super useful. They're there to help you create good content in stories, and it's just another one helping you to really trim down on your video content. We did a special She Means Business meetup last week, and it was all about Instagram stories. So we'll probably be doing another Facebook Live similarly for Enterprise Nation on Instagram stories. If you go onto their Facebook page, you'll be able to find loads of stuff as well on that. So in the creative options along the top of the first frame, a new editing icon has been added, and that is where you'll access the trimming function. So tap on that, you'll be taken through to a second frame trimming process, and it's pretty straightforward basically, but it's going to provide significant benefit. Okie dokie, let's have a look. What else have we got here? Instagram's adding new listings of least interacted with and most shown in feed in the following tab. So a few months ago, actually, I think we spoke about how they're looking at creating groups or lists on Instagram to help you really filter through your followers and tap into content that you are most interested in. So this is kind of an add-on and a move on from that. They've rolled out 2 new category listings within your following tab. So if you open up your app, it's a little magnifying glass, which will enable you to see which accounts you get the most visibility in your feed and which you rarely engage with. So the listing of those you don't engage with essentially is telling you who to unfollow. But the people that are listed in those that you most engage with will give you the ability to interact with them more, create more content with them, and give you more control over the algorithm in the feed. If you don't like any of the accounts that are listed, we're being told that you can remove them or unfollow those people as well. So with it says in their article, it said with users much more attuned to how social media platforms are working and what they want to see, it makes sense for the platforms to seek more of an input from those people using it as opposed to pushing connections. So for those who weren't aware, a way that the algorithms work on all social media is it's an assumptive process that you interact with all these people a lot, or you tend to talk about this type of content. So we will show you these pieces of content in your feed based on that information you've given us. And every platform has a way that you can turn that off, edit it, adjust it. You just have to sometimes dig around for it. But this is Instagram's offering to that mix. Excuse me. So IGTV, we don't talk a lot about IGTV, but monetization is coming on the platform, which can make it a much more significant consideration. I think it's so safe to say when IGTV launched, it kind of bombed a little bit in that people weren't really using it, didn't understand how to use it. This is obviously Facebook's way, or another way for them to take on YouTube and to give creators an opportunity to make longer form video content. And it was predominantly always in profile as opposed to landscape, portrait, sorry, as opposed to landscape, and they've flipped that around to allow people to make video in both formats, which is cool. So they're really trying to push its use on the platform, and now they're introducing monetization, then they're hoping that's going to attract more users and attract more creators as well. So, and again, taking it straight from the horse's mouth, IGTV hasn't seemingly gained a heap of traction as an entertainment option, but Instagram has repeatedly noted that it has options, that it can still make IGTV a more significant consideration for viewers and creators. So you can earn money by running short ads on your IGTV videos. So that will be a function that you can set up. The capacity to generate real direct income from IGTV could be a big lure for top creators who are basically already creating money and content over on YouTube or Facebook. So I think, as I said, the lack of monetization tools to date has probably been a significant factor in it not being a bigger hit, or a reason why influencers aren't driving their audiences there. So this could make a difference to the platform and to how we're using it. They've also launched a new appeal process for disabled accounts. I don't know why they launched it on Safer Internet Day. They just piggybacked on that for no apparent reason, because it's not really about safety per se, but they've basically given you now the opportunity to appeal whether or not your account or an account gets disabled. You can do that directly from the app, which is interesting actually, because I had somebody ask me at a networking event last week. They've had friends or business colleagues have their Instagram accounts blocked or put in Instagram jail is what they referred to. And do we know if that how long that lasts, and is there an appeal process? Well, now the new process will enable those whose accounts have been disabled to request a review of the decision when they attempt to log in. So when you enter your username and password, you'll see a prompt informing you that your account will be deleted with 30 days to appeal the decision. You then have two options: download your data to get all your content off, or request a review. And when you tap on the request review, you'll be taken to a third screen where you'll need to enter all of your name, email information, and a reason why you think Instagram has made a mistake in disabling your account. And then it takes about 24 hours for that to be reviewed. So yes, we appreciate that the platform has an obligation to protect its users. That's why that deletion and banning account is there. But now I think it's fair to say that bots probably are responsible for a lot of that, and some accounts are being banned unfairly perhaps, and that's why they've introduced this appeals process. Okay, so move on to Twitter. Twitter rolls out conversation threads on iPhone. So Twitter's finally rolled out an element of its conversational feature updates that's been beta testing over the last 6 months. Twitter's bringing a new threaded conversation update to its iOS app, which more clearly defines replies from people you know to any given tweet. So given the emphasis that Twitter has been putting on its other beta testing apps, it's somewhat surprising this has taken them this long to roll out any conversational features which are being trialed. So this, again, going back to what we were saying earlier about platforms having or giving more control to users about what they see and how they see it. This is Twitter's offering as well, being able to really highlight conversations that you may be interested in by showing you who's replying and if you know them, etc. And we also mentioned last month about them introducing features to block content and to turn off replies. You have control over that reply function now. So if you didn't see that, then go onto the website and have a look at last month's roundup. Okie doke. New option to add new tweets into old tweet threads. This is bizarre. Now you can more easily add a link to a new tweet. Now you can more easily link a new tweet to an old one, which will provide a simpler way to create tweet threads and more context to your updates. Rather than having to try and cover everything in a new tweet, you can add on to your previous note on the same. While businesses could use this feature for announcing competition winners, providing updates on older in-progress issues, referring customers to previous support notes, updates to previously shared documentation. Yes, agreed, it could be handy. A few ways that you could use it, but we know that what businesses really want is the ability to edit tweets, which is not coming. So that's that one. A bit similar to quote tweet, I suppose, but it will allow you to add a link directly to the entire thread of a previous tweet, so you can pick up the history of that context. But as a business, you would need to know where that tweet is in order to link to it. So it seems quite timely, a time-consuming exercise, if you ask me. Cool, and now LinkedIn's launching a new featured section on profiles. So right at the very top of your profile, you'll be able to highlight your key achievements and links. You can put that into your profile at the moment. You can add on links to other websites, to blogs, etc. And you can highlight your achievements in a variety of ways. But they're actually now bringing that to a much more prominent place in the profile. So users will be able to add any of their LinkedIn posts to their featured listing. And you'll also be able to add links to external websites, such as a blog or portfolio, images, documents, and basically showcase specific aspects and achievements to profile visitors. Whereas right now, unless you switch it on to public, most of that stuff has to be, as I said, you have to dig around to find it, and it's if you are friends with somebody that you can see it. Facebook is testing a new color highlight for links to people's accounts and hashtags in post text. I still firmly am of the belief and experience that hashtags don't work on Facebook pages, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. But highlighting people's accounts that you're connecting with, so if you're mentioning another business in your post, could be useful as a way to drive more traffic to their profile, I guess. Aesthetically, it makes it more apparent that you're talking about somebody else. So that could be definitely be useful. Okay, Facebook tests easier access to chronological news feed. So again, going back to what we were saying earlier, this new option would make it easier to access both chronological and other feed sorting options, which could be a welcome change. It's being tested internally at the moment with no plans to roll it out publicly. And before I go on to the next point, I'm just going to skip through and see what else. Oh yeah, Snapchat. So Snapchat's testing a major redesign to simplify its in-app navigation. So they're testing out some designs which could expand the app from 3 to 5 definitively separated sections. So the first would be Snap Map, which is currently accessible by swiping down the main camera screen, though it's not clearly noted as such anywhere in the app. The chat section, where you can conduct message conversations. And then the third is the main camera, which the app opens to automatically. So the current Snap Discover section, but it will be renamed Community, and that would feature all the content from connections, people you follow, personal recommendations, etc. And the new Discover will showcase Snapchat's original programming, which has seen a significant boost in viewership. So it's always been a point of contention that it's not user-friendly in its design, but this should mean that Snapchat users, new and current, will be able to access all the features a lot more easier, and it should make it more appealing. But yeah, I like it. It also, some have suggested, being built this way to keep older users out in the past. If people logging on can't understand it, they move on, which in many ways is how Snapchatters would prefer it. So that's quite amusing. Okay, and then a couple of things we're blogging this week about TikTok. TikTok is the kind of social media darling at the moment that everybody's raving about. We are blogging about it later this week. But there are a couple of updates. If you are on TikTok, you can now upload content via desktop, and it's reportedly looking at an update to its profile design, so it'll be switching to a more Instagram style format apparently. So yeah, links to those articles will be in the update that we share shortly after this live. Cool, so what's the time? We've got 16 minutes in. So for the last few minutes, I just wanted to touch on online content regulation and staying safe online. So last week or so, it was announced as part of Safe Internet Day, I guess, that Ofcom would be given more powers to regulate the internet. And I was on BBC Radio Wiltshire talking about that. Which, you know, on one hand, it's not a bad thing, because the social media platforms themselves clearly are struggling with how to moderate that, and there are a lot of vulnerable people using it, using social media, and then not getting protected to a degree. And there are lots of people who are abusing social media sites who are not getting called up. So Facebook this week published a white paper on standardizing online content regulation. And there is a link to the entire document actually that we've already tweeted out. So do go back to our Facebook profile, to our Twitter profile, and have a look for that link. But last year, Mark Zuckerberg published an opinion piece in the Washington Post in which he called for new rules for the internet and outlined a specific case for more definitive government regulation. They've gone from a "we don't want any government interference" to "we need government oversight to implement universal safety controls and ensures a level playing field for all platforms working to police content." It's a really, it's a good shift for Mark to come out and talk about this, and the white paper is really interesting. I would urge you all to go and have a look at it. How this emerges going forward in terms of what regulations like people like Ofcom have is still to be seen. But shortly after that happened, we heard the tragic news of Caroline Flack taking her own life last weekend following a lot of online abuse. And I spoke about this as well on BBC Wiltshire on the Monday. And I really wanted to take this opportunity to share some key messages with you all about how you can take responsibility for online safety. There are a few things that I always talk to people about. One is fact checking for a start. So a lot of these platforms work on clickbait. There are false accounts and kind of propaganda organizations, I guess, working, and trolls working to spread hate and all sorts of stuff like that across the internet, and they work on clickbait. They will create articles that shock you and want you to click and share. And the more you do that, the more this sort of stuff builds and goes around the internet. So you are responsible for what you connect with and what you engage on. I use a site called fullfact.org. If you ever see an article that you're unsure of, put the news article link into that website and they will fact check it for you before you start to share random news and ideas. Practically, educate yourselves with your settings in any app that you use. You'll have the ability to turn off, to make your accounts private, to make your accounts public. You will have the ability to block content, to report content, and to hide content. So familiarize yourself with where those settings are. I would also always encourage people to review who they are friends with on their social media channels and who they follow on their social media channels. If your feed is full of people you do not know, haven't seen in months or years, or celebrities that actually don't make you feel happy when you read their content, get rid of it. Again, you have the control over what you see and how you use social media. And this is all information that should be passed on to your young people and to your children. Sit with them and help them do that. Report content. Reporting content is really easy on all platforms. There's usually in the top right-hand corner somewhere a drop-down arrow or 3 little dots. You can click on that and you can report it. So I'd absolutely advocate that. Block adverts as well that you don't want to see. Review your connections, as I said, and check your screen time. So work with your kids and friends about screen time and how long they are obsessively opening up apps every 2 minutes. And yeah, talk to them about that. And then lastly, what was I going to say? That was it. If you see content online that is concerning or upsetting from a friend, a family, or a family member or somebody else, don't scroll past it thinking it's attention seeking. Try and reach out to those people and ask if they're okay. You can also send, again, warning and reports to the social media platform that you see that content on, and a lot of those now will have functionality to get in touch with those users with messages of support. So yes, that's my kind of message really about all of that. There's a few things that sites have released this week or this month, or functions that I wanted to remind you about that really support all of that message. So TikTok have introduced new safety features, allowing parents to control what their children see. So that's on there. Twitter have launched a safer DM plugin as well, which it's automatically through the use of AI blocking unsolicited DMs, so nude pictures basically, and they've been beta testing that and it's working really well. That's called Safe DM. Snapchat also launched a mental health tool on their site last month. Again, algorithms picking up on messaging and thoughts and content in order to reach out and support. Facebook similarly, and as has Instagram. So if anybody has any questions about how to change their settings, how to block people, how to review followers, unfollow, anything like that, please do reach out to me. And we also have a Facebook group that we launched on Safe Internet Day for parents who are confused, stressed, whatever, about social media. They don't know how it works. They don't know where certain settings are, etc., or what the capabilities are, in fact, for protecting their young people and children. And I set this group up as a way to help parents educate themselves so they could have a conversation with their children about those sorts of things. Because it's very easy to just set up an account on Facebook because your child has an account on Facebook, but actually understanding how these things work is a much better way to equip yourself. Cool. That is it from me. Thank you so much, everybody who's viewed. Thank you, Leanne, for your kind comment. That's really, really sweet. Thank you, Rachel, for sharing this with Olga. And thank you, Lynette, Kerry, Leanne, Kenny, everybody who's watched today. We will be sharing a link to the full articles of everything that I've talked you through, so you can read them in your own time. And again, I'll pop some links to those Facebook groups that I mentioned for businesses and for parents. But thank you so much for your attention, and I will be back. I don't know when I'll be back actually, because I've got a little holiday to take at the end of March. So that will be rescheduled for when I'm back. I would imagine it will be in the beginning of April. Cool. So thank you so much. Vicky, hi Vicky. The group for parents is a fabulous idea. Thank you. What's it called? It's called the Parents Social Media Hub, and I will pop a link in there for you right now. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you for watching. Thanks for the question. Guys, I will speak to you all very soon. You know where I am in the meantime if you need me. Take care. Bye.